Hi, welcome or welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to do a little reading, and this one is, there's a specific subject that I want to talk about, and it's about self-worth. And this is a collective kind of thought that I've got at the moment about how many people you can come into your life and sort of apologise for yourself before you've even spoken. You know, I have friends and people that I know that they kind of start a conversation with sorry, almost like they're apologising for themselves as soon as they've walked into a room. So we're going to see what all of that is about at this time. Let me just see. Yeah. So first of all, actually, before I pick a rune, I'm going to pick one of these cards, the feminine cards, just to see what word we get from this. So do you often apologise for yourself as an introduction when you walk into a room, when you're meeting other people? Do you shy away from confronting a person who you need to set clear boundaries with, you know? Or if there's a problem with your food in a restaurant, would you just rather pretend and not say anything rather than actually say, I'm not happy with this, this is something that needs to change for me? Because many of us, you know, we don't, and that's because we put so much importance into what the other person is thinking or feeling about us. It comes from, you know, a want to be people to be happy with you, people to accept you. But when you set a clear and present boundary, when you show people what you need, you actually start to build some self-worth, or a lot of self-worth actually. So I'm going to pick a card now, even though I just threw all the cards on the floor. But now I've picked them up, we shall see what we get from this. Wise. And there's the owl, the wise old owl. I literally had a conversation about this with a friend not that long ago. I actually heard an owl last night outside my window, but not like a whoo kind of sound. It was more like a yee, you know, that kind of high-pitched sound that they make. And this is almost like an alert, isn't it? It's like putting you on alert. And it's interesting because last night I had this conversation with my son about self-worth and about resilience. He had something happen at school which wasn't very nice. And instead of him just being annoyed about it and accepting it for what it was and then doing what he could about it, he started going into this thing. It was about an object that had been broken at school, and he went into attacking himself for, well, you know, this happened because of this, and you've wasted your money on buying this for me, mummy, and I feel bad. You know, rather than actually looking at, you know, well, this happened to you. It wasn't a personal attack, but it happened and it's made you feel upset. But instead of you accepting that as just something that happened in your day that wasn't very good, he will start to attack himself, sort of thing. And I feel like many people do that. It's almost like you will firstly blame yourself rather than actually looking at, well, why do you do that? Why do you feel like you are to blame in that situation when you couldn't have controlled that situation? There are certain things in our lives that happen that are out of our control. So this is about being wise. It's about the, you know, knowing when to move and when not to move, knowing when to confront and when not to confront, but not blaming yourself all the time. Okay, so I'm going to pop that one down there. We're going to see what runes represent your energy at this time as well. The sun's just suddenly started shining. I've just seen a couple of bumblebees coming through as well, which is nice. Let's have a look. H, what am I talking about? Hagalaz. I went into a zone then, didn't I? I was just thinking about the bees, but Hagalaz. So this is usually where there's a destructive event or something that happens, but it shakes you into a place of contemplation. So there's an analogy I like to use with this rune, which is about you driving along the motorway and you have a blowout. So you like your tyre bursts or something happens and you're broken down. You then have to wait what seems like forever for somebody to come and rescue you, like the AA man or whatever. Now, you're stuck there for those amount of times, and it can be like 4 hours, if not longer. Now, you are there and you are contemplating. because you've been thrown into a situation of having to sit with yourself at that point. You can't go anywhere else. You can't be anywhere else. You have to sit with yourself. And there's so many emotions that can come out of that, like frustration that you can't be where you need to be, anger, but eventually you come round to just acceptance. I have to accept that I'm right here, right now, and I can't do a stitch about it. And it's in those situations that you start to realise, actually, you know, all of the good things in your life. Like, you might be sat there wishing you'd put a cup of coffee in the car before you drove away, or that you'd got something to eat, or that you brought an extra coat or something like that. You suddenly start to realise the things that you have in your life. You suddenly start to think about all of those things. But for many of us, it's kind of like oh, well, I'm an idiot. I should have got this checked out, or I should have got the tyre pressures checked before I took my journey. But things happen for a reason. And when we start to accept that that's the case, you know, these things happen, you can accept it then. And, you know, go with the flow rather than attacking yourself. So Hagalaz is represented with that energy today of chaos that throws you into a space of contemplation. So what else we have on here? Athala. So Athala, this is kind of like inheritance. So what I'm going to say with this is, for many, this can be traits that we inherit from family members, or just that have passed down family lines. And you may be doing a little bit of work at the moment around, what is that within me that I recognise within somebody? Have you ever sat there with a parent or somebody that, you know, or your sibling or something, and you're like, oh, I do that. Like I just sounded like my mom there, or I just sounded like my dad, or something like that. And you catch yourself doing that. Or somebody tells you something like, oh, you sounded like your mom there when you did that. So that can sometimes trigger people. It can make you feel like, oh, well, I didn't want to feel like that. Or it might make you feel proud that you have got that quality coming through. So for some of you, this contemplation stage that you're in, I do feel that there's been an element of chaos or something that's disruptive in your life at this time that has thrown you into really introspection and looking within, like, well, what can I change within myself? Where is this coming from? What is the root of this? And that's basically what you're working on now, is like the root to why you feel the way that you do, the root to why things are happening the way that they are in your life. It's deep work. And we have answers. So this is a level of communication. Now, this is an interesting one, because I literally had a conversation today about this with someone, where if you say, I'm going to use the particular, and I know she's probably going to watch this video as well. So you're in the gym and you're feeling a little bit intimidated, maybe. Perhaps it's not your usual place and you just feel like everybody's bright, shiny, fit, whatever. But you want to ask a question, but there's nobody around that you can quickly go and ask. So it means you have to get your needs met, to get what you need from this, you're going to need to go and reach out for somebody, go and find somebody. So that might be walking across the gym floor. You might feel insecure about that. And in this particular situation, you know, this person they didn't go and do that because of fear, because of sort of, you know, their own insecurity or how they feel about something. But when you take a chance to go, actually, my needs are important and I'm well within my rights to go and ask for help or ask for something that I need, you know, that's about self-worth. That is bringing self-worth into it. So, for instance, I know I read something earlier about somebody that has high anxiety and they wanted to go into Subway, you know, that place where they sell all those horrible sandwich things. And this person, they'd never been in before, but they knew there was something you have to do and you have to say what you want and things. And they were a bit anxious about it. So they posted about, how do you go and order your sandwich at Subway? And somebody responded with no judgment, no narkiness, no funniness, just giving simple instructions as to how you would go about doing that. Now, that person that was asking for the direction, I imagine, would have probably felt more confident then, and actually a bit of self-worth for even in the first place, asking for the help that they needed, because it is a big deal to ask for help that you need when you never felt like you were worth anything in the first place. It's a major step in raising your self-worth. So this is what Answers is talking about here. It's about this communication, allowing yourself to communicate, even if you feel uncomfortable doing it, but saying, you know, I'm actually uncomfortable with the way you're making me feel, or I really need some help from you right now. And for many people, the fear of doing that might be that, well, what if they turn around and say no? Well, then they turn around and say no, but at least you asked. At least you asked. You took the time to ask, okay? Many people can be you can get to a point where it's like you just would rather meet other people's needs. You can become very agreeable to things. So you may start conversations with sort of like, oh, you don't have to if you don't want to, but I just wondered if you wanted to. So it's trying to get out of the habit of how you communicate yourself. So instead being more direct and saying things like, I want to know if you want to do this. Do you want to do it or not? Rather than, if you give too much sway within it, somebody might feel a little bit like, oh, I'm going to say no then, because I don't feel like you're confident enough in what you're asking me to do. So it's building that confidence, building that self-worth by being direct enough to say, this is what I need right now. You might turn around and say no, but at least I've asked you. Okay. That is wisdom. That is allowing yourself to sort of go through life thinking like, I do have value, I do have worth. I can ask for what I need and what I want. What's this one? There's one that fell in my lap there, and this is TWAS. This is commitment to self. So by doing these practices, by moving through these cycles, you are actually saying to yourself, I commit to me. I commit to the person that I want to become. Now, if you have children or if you have people that are influenced by you, it's a very important way of being is to keep showing up for yourself. Keep holding those healthy boundaries around things that you feel, is that okay by me or is it not okay by me? Make sure that you know what it is that you want and that you need. So let's just get some information now on a particular situation that this collective is going through at this point as to why this is coming up today as something for us to talk about. King of Pentacles. So this could be an opportunity right now for you to find stability, for you to find, so I do feel like this could be an opportunity to do with work or to do with money, maybe a proposal or something that you are asking for or would like to ask for, but you're not sure how to ask. Because this King of Pentacles is a very material, abundant and confident leader. This is somebody who, knows that they can obtain success, that they can bring that to themselves. But there's like with this dog down here, dogs always make me think of loyalty. It's like having loyalty to yourself. If you're not loyal to yourself and you're quite happy to let somebody cross you and just blind yourself to it because you're afraid to sort of step in and go, actually, no, what do you think you're doing? Sneaky. Pull you back. When you show people that you are, you know your worth, you will watch them change their attitude towards you, seriously. Once you start putting out there, like, I know my worth, I can see you trying to get round me and round my boundaries. And if you let somebody get through your boundaries, what you've taught them is that you have weak, flaky boundaries. If you keep your boundaries quite strong and you say to this person, no, even if that's difficult for you to hold those boundaries, over time they become strong by themselves and you don't need to keep reinforcing them. Have you ever seen those public speakers where it's like the room's all chatty? They are so stood in their power when they stand there waiting and they just wait. They don't even speak. They're not shouting going, excuse me, everybody, listen. They're just quiet. And the room becomes quiet because that person holds their power. Yeah? They're directing the room based around their energy and their power. And this is what you are trying to achieve. This is what you want to become. But first, you need to stop apologising for yourself when you walk into a room. You need to change your language as to how you introduce yourself, how you bring yourself in. So let's get another card based Oh, Three of Wands. So the Three of Wands, this is kind of like where you have been doing the work to now take a journey. You are embarking on a journey at this point. It's like you're ready to go. You've got all the stuff together, ready to go. So perhaps through talking about this on here, you're like, yeah, I'm ready to put this into action now. I'm ready to actually try this out. So maybe today, try and find 3 opportunities where you can approach yourself by bringing your self-worth. Does that make sense? So what I mean by that is, number 1, don't apologize for yourself as an introduction. Number 2, if you don't believe something that somebody's saying, tell them. Speak up. Number 3, if you need somebody to move out of the way for you, or you need something from somebody, or you want to ask a question, even if it feels really uncomfortable, go and do it. Okay, so that's 3 things on there that you could do for yourself to help you to explore this, to bring yourself to that place. It's very freeing, and this is what you're saying you want to move towards. Yeah, be that leader in your own life. This is somebody that's about to take a leading role. Okay, and you are very close to this. You are very close to being able to do that. You don't like conflict. You find conflict very, very difficult, and you will find that there are going to be people that try and challenge this within you because it's very different to how you normally go. So you have to stand your ground, and this is helping you to build resilience. Now, part of that journey is about taking the emotion out of things. Yeah, don't look at things as a personal attack on you. See things always as an opportunity to grow and to move forward. Okay. It's having that confidence and courage to know your worth, know your strength, be resilient. Yeah. It's almost like I have to do this in my job. It's sort of like I see my business as kind of like a boss over me. So it's almost like, you know, if I want to ask for money or do things like that, I kind of have to say to myself, well, it's not for me, it's for the business. To be able to actually achieve it. And the more you do that, the more you actually find it's sort of like, oh, you know, it's starting to come easy to me now. You know, things are starting to come a lot easier for me, because you are showing people you're leading it. Whereas if you're a bit flaky, you're like, oh, well, you know, this is what I normally ask for, sort of thing. Or if you don't ask for what you really need and you're undercutting yourself, people aren't going to trust what you're giving because you don't seem confident in yourself. You don't know your own self-worth, so therefore why would they trust you? We have the Four of Wands that fell out of the pack here as we were doing that. I love the Four of Wands because this is about excitement. It's about like celebration. You are on your way, I feel, to a place of freedom. You are freeing yourself up by standing your ground almost. That sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? It's almost like you feel like you're putting yourself into battle, but actually you're winning. You're taking control. And in that taking control, I can see for many of you, this is bringing financial abundance. This is going to bring you into a place of actually having rather than wishing. And we have that Five of Wands in reverse at this point. So it's kind of like where you've moved from conflict into actually having strong boundaries, moving through it. You're still up in your head about it. I've got the Five of Swords on here. So there's definitely... there's a balance, basically. There is a balance of sort of like being maybe too overly confident and then being confident. So just be aware of how much you also hold a boundary and respect other people's boundaries, and understand that balance, getting an exchange and a balance. Yeah, basically treating people how you want to be treated yourself. But there's an element of overwhelm with the person that I'm talking to on here. You have the sometimes ability to get a little bit overwhelmed, but this is, you've got to let go of worrying about what people think. There's almost a feeling of people thinking badly of you for standing up for yourself. If they feel badly of you for standing up for yourself, that tells you a lot about them rather than you. That tells you a lot about their intentions over you. rather than it does about you. And what it will bring you ultimately is this emotional fulfillment. This is emotional intelligence as well. So the Queen of Cups is working from a place of having compassion and love. But that compassion and love comes from yourself first before you can apply it to others. And it's a balance. It is a balance, true balance at work. You are weaving in these lessons, working with them to create this best version of yourself. And that's beautiful. It's a very enriching way to be and way to live. So this is where you're at right now. I'm going to get a final card on this, final word as to what this is talking for you right now. You know, dream big, but just keep remembering to always honour yourself. Yeah, not being selfish, but just standing up for yourself. Be the big brother or big sister that you would expect to look after you in a certain situation. I don't know about anybody else, but it's like when I was a kid, I always used to stick up for my brother. I could stick up for my brother way better than I could stick up for myself. You know, I would actually literally beat somebody up for him, rather than beat somebody up to sort of protect myself. So if you see yourself as like you would if you'd got a sibling looking after you kind of thing, then you're always going to stand up for yourself in that sense. Because you would, wouldn't you? If that was your brother or your sister or somebody that you loved or your child even, you'd stand up for them. So why can't you do it for you? And that's about finding your self-worth. You are just as worthy as anybody else of love, of comfort, of security. And what you're looking for now is this security within yourself, within your life, within your, your financial being. And we've got two cards there that are all about excitement and fulfillment. There's an event coming up for you, I feel, that's going to impact you in such a way. But there may be a need for investment on that, which means you have to stop apologising for yourself, stop apologising for asking for what you need. And then the Ten of Cups here is, just joy and peace and family fulfillment. Everything that you're desiring, it's achievable on here. But you have to stay the course, you have to learn the lessons, and you have to integrate them into your life to move it forward. So I'm going to leave this reading here for you. If you would like to work more on this as a personalised reading, so we can go more in depth about particular situations that were coming up there, but we can also work with that self-worth as well, and building your resilience and just getting to the root of things that have created that for you in your life and how we can move forward with them. So please do like and subscribe to my channel, and do get in touch, leave a comment if you like, or drop me an email. Have a blessed day.